Hello there everyone and welcome to the FMSCOUT YouTube channel. My name is Luke and of course yesterday Football Manager released their brand new winter update. Update 21.3 for anyone who is wondering what it is called, and of course you need to update that, but what changes were made? Well, I'm here to tell you some big changes, some little changes. In total there are millions, but I'm going to go over the best ones. Now, this is usually the point where I plug my own channel. However, some of you may already know, but I have had my channel hijacked by some Bitcoin scam or something like that. So hopefully I get my channel back very soon. But if you do wish to come say hello in some other kind of factor, then I am on twitch.tv/Luke Gaming. Come along, say hello Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturdays. So the first thing that changed because of the winter update, of course, is the worldwide transfers that we have seen throughout January and slightly after, maybe even before, managerial changes and of course player attributes. Yes, that means that certain players who may have been under or overrated beforehand and may have had slight tweaks or even major tweaks to their player attributes, which of course is fantastic for players like me and you. We get to see different kind of players into the game, a more recent update on their performances. Does this mean that Haaland's going to be even better now? Because that's kind of scary. And speaking of Haaland, of course, this wouldn't be a good update video if we didn't speak about his new 16-year-old teammate, which has burst onto the scene and widely become probably the most anticipated Football Manager wonder kid ever, I think, really. He is now into the game. We are talking about, of course, Moukoko for Dortmund. He's started his debut earlier on in this season in real life. Of course, he wasn't in the game at the start. Now he is integrated into the game. What a player, by the way. Yes, Moukoko is finally in the game, viewers, at a whopping -10 potential. Now, for anyone who doesn't quite know what that means, what that potential rating means, basically, he could fall between the potential range of anywhere between 170 and 200 out of 200. So he could become the best ever player. Like, there's only ever been a few players, and you probably know the two I'm on about, who have ever reached 200 before in the past. Only matched, by the way, by Rennes midfielder Eduardo Camavinga, who is also in the same potential range. Now, that is obviously quite incredible because having a player of that caliber in the game is very interesting and exciting. Maybe if you're not even managing him, but just to see what he can do in your saves. And here at FMSCOUT, Jake has already done a video 10 years into the future to see how good he can really be. And there are so many videos about that, of course, and I'll probably be doing one myself as well on my channel if I ever get that back. So I won't give too much away. However, he does a lot of this. And in fact, all of the changes made to players mounted up to a whopping 3.7 million. So it's almost a brand new game in that aspect. So many changes for you to find and figure out, and maybe even more wonder kids for you to find in the game that wasn't there before. On to more updates then, and we look at gameplay. Now, earlier on in the game, a few people encountered problems which have now hopefully been fixed because of this update, one of them being youth intakes. Now, the problem with the youth intakes before was the amount of youth players that were coming through the youth intakes didn't quite add up to the amount of players that were leaving the game who were retiring. So it meant that your database sizes were drastically deteriorating throughout year on year. Now, hopefully that has been fixed. According to these patch notes, it has been fixed so that the amount of players who are retiring and leave the game and leave your database completely is matched by the amount of new players coming in. Now, why is that really good for you guys? Well, more wonder kid new gens. Am I right? I mean, that's one of the most fun parts about Football Manager. Having more players to find and more hidden gems. All of these new gens coming into the game. Now, potentially, there's going to be more of them. That's fantastic. Now, here are a list of minor fixes that have been made during this update to make the game slightly more realistic and enjoyable. But on to the match engine. So people kind of love this match engine at the very start of the game, and some people have found it to be difficult as we continue on, I guess, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. It's slightly different. I can understand there are some bugs, myself included, have found some, but you can't please everyone, I guess. There are some changes that have been made throughout this update by SI that I think will hopefully make the game much better to play during this update, which obviously sounds very promising. There is a more balance of match ratings, which has already been fixed beforehand, where defenders, for example, were getting poor ratings as certain statistics, such as key tackles, for instance, wasn't being picked up by the match engine itself. That was fixed beforehand, but it seems like SI have made more changes to hopefully balance that out more, and maybe even more statistics being picked up properly. That even more, for me, that is obviously a great thing to happen, and I really hope that we can see that happen in your games. This includes key tackles, clear-cut chances, and interceptions, just to name a few, which are now all being monitored a lot better and will appear more realistically in your statistics, so you should be able to find them more. There's also a slight change to goalkeeper distribution, and that has apparently been improved, which will, according to the patch notes, be more realistic to your tactical instructions, which makes sense because on most of my tactics, I have set for the goalkeeper to roll the ball out of defence, and yet sometimes I see him just launch a ball straight at the pitch into the opposition's path with none of my players actually around them. So what I'm kind of hoping is that what they are saying is exactly true, and if you do have in your tactic instructions for the goalkeeper to constantly roll the ball out, never to kick it unless I guess you're struggling for that goal, or you change the tactical instructions, then every single time you do see your goalkeeper with the ball, he should be trying to find someone to roll it out to. So that's obviously we need to find out. There's also going to be improvements to the assistant manager's advice, which might mean when your goalkeeper is having a bad game, it doesn't suggest bringing on the striker off the bench in the second half to fill in the net, which, I mean, that's not great advice. But we've all had it. We've all seen it on the game. Hopefully, this patch now kind of secures that. And if you do have another goalkeeper on the bench, then it suggests him to go there instead. Another slight little change, which I think makes a big difference, to be honest, especially for people content creating and to the fact if you're just genuinely intrigued, is now the commentary should be telling you quite often who managed to get the assist during the gameplay. If you score a goal, it's very hard to determine unless you actually seen who kicked it, who actually got the assist. Now we should be seeing this in your little commentary box down the bottom. It might say who actually got that assist, should there be someone who actually picked up an assist. There has also been some minor updates of some of the rules in different competitions too, which you can see right here on the screen. So this might apply to you, it might not. And there has also been a few updates with the fantasy draft mode, which obviously will play a huge part in helping things run a lot more smoothly in things like the streamer showdown on Twitch and fantasy drafts with your friends, which tended to have some bugs beforehand, which have been picked up by SI and rectified. So fair play to them. Adding on top a few stability fixes, that is pretty much the changes in the winter update of Football Manager. So hopefully these changes will improve what I think is already a great version of Football Manager, and we can find new and exciting players we haven't found beforehand, and we can continue to enjoy this beautiful game until Football Manager 22 comes out. So my name is Omegalug. Let's drop a like of celebration for the winter update and all of these changes. Subscribe to the channel for more, of course, and leave us a comment down below on what your favourite changes of this winter update and why. Is it Moukoko? And I'll see you very soon in the future, hopefully with my own channel back. Bye bye.